from furious golfers who exploded mid-round to players breaking the rules in downright shocking ways. These are the 20 most mind-blowing moments in golf history. There are professional athletes who treat their bodies like temples. Then there's John Daly, who treats his like a honky-tonk bar at 2 a.m. And somehow that worked out just fine against Tiger Woods in 1994. The setting is Sherwood Country Club for a corporate outing. The night before, Daly's posted up at the round table with a bottle of Jack Daniels, inviting anyone and everyone to join. Tiger walks in. Daly waves him over for a drink, and Tiger declines, but hours pass. More Jack disappears, Tiger returns. Another invitation, another rejection. This goes on for 5 or 6 hours while Daly and his crew pound whiskey like it's their job. Eventually, Tiger returns in a suit, informing Daly there's a dinner he's supposed to attend. And oh yeah, there's a guitar on stage waiting for him. He stumbles over, grabs the guitar, belts out, knocking on heaven's door, gets a standing ovation, and announces he'll see everyone tomorrow. Morning arrives. Daly's caddy, also drunk from the night before, is tasked with delivering Jack and Cokes to the first tee. Sherwood's opening hole has this brutal uphill walk through cactuses, and the caddy's navigating it carefully, trying not to spill the drink. Daly grabs his 3-iron, takes a sip, and tees off. The result? Daly shoots 65. Tiger shoots 71. 6-stroke difference? Daly, still buzzing from the previous night's bottle and sipping whiskey between holes, played some of the best golf of the day. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, on to the next. And it's a classic case of golf's cruel sense of humor. Justin Thomas was cruising through his second round at the 2017 Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas when he reached the par 5 15th at Albany. Then, his ball found the one spot on the entire hole designed to ruin his day. The sandy waist area nestled directly against a rock. If Thomas moved the rock, the ball would move, costing him a penalty. He could take an unplayable lie, but that felt like giving up, so he decided to get creative. He set up in a completely bizarre stance and gave it a shot. The result? Not much. He hit mostly rock and barely any golf ball. The ball kind of tumbled forward, hardly moving at all from its terrible lie. When it all seemed lost, Thomas finally knocked it out on his second try and walked away with a bogey. That bogey kicked off 3 straight mistakes, derailing an otherwise solid round. It was a good reminder that in golf, one unlucky spot and one little rock is enough to humble even the best players in the world. This one happened 2 weeks before Super Bowl 50. And you might ask, what does football have to do with golf? Well, I ask myself the same thing. But sometimes sports are more about passion than logic. Turns out that the Carolina Panthers had just destroyed the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC Championship. The wound was fresh and Cardinals supporters were still hurting. So, enter Harold Varner III, a 26-year-old golfer from East Carolina and a massive Panthers fan. He showed up at the Phoenix Open, which happens to be in Arizona, home of those heartbroken Cardinals fans, and decided to have some fun. Thursday's first round, Varner drilled a 31-foot birdie putt on the famous 16th hole and celebrated by dabbing just like Cam Newton. By Friday, he took it to another level. After hitting his tee shot through the green on the 16th, Varner pulled out a Cam Newton Carolina Panthers jersey and put it on right there in front of 20,000 Cardinals fans. Then he started dabbing his way down the path to the green. Over and over. Gotta admit, messing with fans of a totally different sport while crushing it in your own. Man, that's the Phoenix Open for you. Next, we see that creativity can go, well, a little off the rails. Mark Hubbard was having a rough day at the 2021 American Express, well on his way to missing the cut. Standing on the par 4 ninth, he faced a short par putt. Nothing special, until Hubbard decided to make it memorable. He set up like a normal putt, left hand on the grip. Everything seemed fine, but then his right hand just let go. He shuffled his feet, stretched his right arm out to shoulder height, pinky sticking straight out, and then he started moving in this weird squatting circle, like he was dancing. Finally, he crouched all the way down and hooked his pinky around the shaft, just about 8 inches off the ground. Honestly, what in the heck is that? Hubbard calls it the snail, a putting stroke he picked up during his college days at San Jose State. Believe it or not, PGA Tour rules officials confirmed it's completely legal. He missed the putt, but that wasn't really the point. When the round's already gone sideways, why not give the broadcast crew and everyone watching at home something they'll never forget? All right, leading a tournament at Firestone is one thing. Hitting a 9-iron onto the clubhouse roof and walking away with just a bogey? That's another. Tiger Woods was cruising through the second round of the 2006 Bridgestone Invitational when everything went crazy on his final hole. From the right rough on the par 4 9th, his 9-iron jumped from the grass, sailed over the flag, cleared the grandstands, skipped off a path, hopped a balcony, and finished on the clubhouse roof. A kitchen worker spotted the ball near the service area, tossed it in a cart cup holder, and drove off, not realizing he'd just taken Tiger's ball mid-tournament. Meanwhile, Woods waited nearly 10 minutes while officials argued about where it even ended up. A laser finally confirmed the landing point, 97 yards from the hole. And thanks to the grandstands blocking the line and the clubhouse not being out of bounds, Tiger got a free drop. He wedged on, two-putted for bogey, and walked off shaking his head. Turns out the world's #1 was also the luckiest guy at Firestone. Here we are with the next one. Making the turn at the Greenbrier Classic in 2015, Robert Streb was one shot off the lead heading into the back nine of the final round. Everything is tracking nicely. Then, he casually tossed his putter toward his bag after finishing the 9th hole. Bad move. The head snapped clean off. The rules of golf says he can't replace it because the damage didn't happen during normal play. The situation here is he still has 9 holes left and no putter now. So he grabbed his 56-degree wedge and decided to make the best of the disaster. He drained a 30-footer for birdie on the 13th. Then another birdie. And another. 5 birdies total on the back 9 with a sand wedge on the greens, shooting 4 under 32. On the 18th, facing a 5-footer to tie the clubhouse lead, he calmly rolled it in with the wedge like he'd been doing it his entire career. His 65 earned him a spot in a 4-way playoff. The rules allowed him to replace his putter for sudden death, but in a cruel twist of fate, he never got to use it. He missed the green on the first playoff hole and was eliminated when Danny Lee and David Hearn made birdies. Still, it is incredible that Streb nearly won a PGA Tour event, putting with a wedge for half the round. But now, things get even crazier when golf hands you a chance nobody expected. A chance so insane, it changed everything for this player. Michael Block was a club professional from California, someone who spent most of his career teaching the game, running a local golf shop, and working the tournaments behind the scenes. At the 2023 PGA Championship, he was the only club professional to make the cut, and his reward was playing Sunday alongside 4-time major champion Rory McIlroy at Oak Hill. Imagine that pressure. Standing on the tee at the par 3, 15th at Oak Hill, 151 yards to the pin, 2 over for the tournament, with a top 15 finish, and his next PGA Championship, on the line, Block pulled his 7-iron. The ball launched. Straight. True and higher, 97 feet in the air. And then, it didn't just land near the hole, it didn't bounce, it went straight into the cup. A hole-in-one, his first ever in competition. Block just stared, turned to Rory McIlroy like, did that just happen? And yes, it did happen. One swing, one shot, one unbelievable arc of a ball. And Michael Block went from club professional to PGA Championship legend in an instant. And of course, he gave us one of those shots you can watch over and over again. All right, now it's Saturday morning at the 2000 US Open. Tiger Woods is finishing his delayed second round, leading by a mile on his way to what would become a record 15-stroke victory. Everything's going according to plan. Until he steps onto the 18th tee at Pebble Beach and hooks his drive straight into the Pacific. Normally, no big deal. Just reload. Except his caddy, Steve Williams, knows something Tiger doesn't. That was the second to last ball in the bag. The night before, Tiger had taken some balls out to practice putting on his hotel carpet and forgot to put them back. Now, with 6 holes left in his round, he's down to 1 ball. And he has no clue. So Woods tees up the last ball and rips another driver. Thankfully, it finds the middle of the fairway. But the danger isn't gone yet. Tiger's ball stops directly behind a tree. He decides to hit a huge cut over the ocean. Williams can't say anything about the ball situation, just wait and watch. Guess what happened? Tiger sends it long over the green and scrambles for a bogey. If that last ball had gone into the water or out of bounds, Woods would have been disqualified. No balls left meant no way to continue. Woods didn't learn about the situation until 6 months later. His reaction? Exactly what you'd expect. What the F? The greatest US Open performance in history almost ended in a DQ because Tiger forgot to restock his golf balls. Some moments in golf feel smaller than they are, until the world watches and realizes just how huge they've become. One putt, one swing, One shot that could change everything. On the 18th green at the 2012 Kraft Nabisco Championship, Ik Kim faced the most haunted moment of her life. Her first major title was within reach. Just a heartbeat away, the gallery held its breath, the scoreboard waited, and all it took was a stroke. She stroked it. The ball pushed right, caught the lip, and stayed out. You could hear her heart break right there. Kim's hands went to her face in disbelief. How does a professional golfer miss when victory is this close? But she did, and instead of raising her first major trophy, she was forced into a playoff, one she would ultimately lose, as Sun Young Yu drained a 20-footer on the first extra hole. Next up, most couples argue about money in the kitchen or living room. John Daly had a different approach. He just threw it all away, literally. Fresh off a $55,000 casino win, Daly was driving over the bridge from Arkansas to Memphis with his then-wife Sherry when she started yelling at him about his gambling. Now, most good husbands would definitely not do what Daly did next. He rolled down the window and chucked all $55,000 in cash off the bridge. Daly turned to Sherry and delivered his thesis. If you want that money, go find it. But remember, you don't have a job. I'm paying for everything. This is what happens when you complain about how I make the money. The argument didn't end there. Daly's buddy then decided the situation needed one more exclamation point. He took Sherry to a McDonald's drive-thru, ordered 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and a soda, and basically said, "This is your budget now if you keep this up." Sherry later confirmed the entire story in her book. She admitted she went back to retrieve the cash and managed to recover almost all of it. So Daly made his dramatic point. The money didn't actually disappear forever. And the story became yet another legendary entry in the John Daly Hall of Fame. Coming in next, golf rivalries are usually polite disagreements settled on the leaderboard. The Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau feud, that was personal, petty, and absolutely everywhere, including the Phoenix Open. By 2021, their beef had gone nuclear. It started with Brooks criticizing Bryson's slow play, then escalated through social media jabs about abs and physiques. Then came the viral video at the PGA Championship, where Brooks rolled his eyes and lost his train of thought when Bryson walked behind him during an interview.
Sometimes, so I lost my train of thought, yeah.
And like any rivalry, fans took sides. At the Memorial Tournament, crowds relentlessly heckled Bryson by yelling "Brooksy" every time he walked by. Security started kicking people out. Brooks responded by posting a video offering free beer to anyone ejected for heckling his rival.
And if your time was, I don't know, say cut short at the golf tournament today, and we're going to be giving out 50 cases of beer to the first 50 people.
The whole thing was chaos. When Phoenix Open week rolled around, the PGA Tour had had enough. They issued warnings that anyone shouting "Brooksy" at Bryson could face ejection from the tournament. The Phoenix Open crowd, already the rowdiest in golf, was being told to tone it down about the sport's biggest drama. And the irony? The feud sold headlines with that golf was suddenly on every sports news. Even Brooks admitted it was probably good for the game, even if it was uncomfortable as hell for everyone involved. Coming in next. After a putt that defied logic, it's time for the kind of confidence only a few players in history carry. Tiger Woods walked onto Royal Melbourne for Sunday singles at the 2019 President's Cup, not just as playing captain, but as the guy who had to set the tone. His opponent, Abraham Ancer, had said before the event that it would be a dream to play Tiger in singles. Be careful what you wish for, man. Woods played brilliantly, making 7 birdies to dominate the match. Standing on the 16th green with a chance to close things out, he had about a 19-foot downhill birdie putt with a right-to-left break. Not an easy putt by any means, but Tiger being Tiger, he knew exactly what was about to happen. He struck the ball, and with it still rolling toward the hole, he calmly walked over and shook Ancer's hand. A split second later, the ball dropped. Match over, 3-2. The win gave the Americans their first point on the board. When asked about it afterward, Tiger said, "At about probably 6 feet out, the match was over. I might have gone to the hat a little early, but it was over." That's the kind of swagger you earn over 27 President's Cup victories. On to the next one. They say Pebble Beach loves legends. That Sunday, it fell for an underdog who wasn't even supposed to be there. No momentum, no status, no expectations. Just a long-forgotten pro with a carry bag, a stomach bug, and one last shot at proving he still belonged. Vaughn Taylor hadn't won in over a decade. hadn't had a full PGA Tour card since 2012. 10 days before the 2016 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, he was throwing up in a hotel room in Bogota, Colombia, so sick he withdrew from a Web.com tour event. He only got into Pebble as first alternate when Carl Pedersen withdrew. He brought only a carry bag to save money on baggage fees. At the time, Taylor was ranked 447th in the world. Sunday arrived with him trailing Phil Mickelson by 6 shots. His goal was just a top 10 finish so he wouldn't have to scramble to Monday qualify for the next event. Then Taylor ran off 4 straight birdies on the back 9, closing with a 65. Mickelson, going for his record-tying 5th Pebble Beach win, stood over a 5-foot birdie putt on 18 to force a playoff. The ball caught the lip. Taylor finished at 17 under, first win in 11 years. First Masters invitation since 2008. Not bad for an alternate who almost didn't make it. Moments like these can feel very, very personal. But on this one, the course stops being just a course and starts actively messing with your head. Jon Rahm stood in the fairway on the par 5 8th at Augusta during the 2020 Masters 3rd round after a 316-yard bomb, staring down 259 yards on a downhill lie. Perfect birdie opportunity, the kind of hole where world number 2s are supposed to make hay. He grabbed a fairway wood and took his swing. The ball rocketed left and low, traveling 166 yards forward but less than a yard into the air. A topped shot that barely cleared the grass. Rahm tried threading a sensible punch through the trees, only to watch his ball slam dead center into a tree stump and a ricochet left into the bushes. The trees literally swatted his escape attempt back at him. He took an unplayable lie, hit a gorgeous 5th shot onto the green, then blew his 30-footer past the hole. He salvaged the tricky 5-footer for double bogey, dropping him 6 shots behind leader Dustin Johnson. You know that feeling when you finally beat someone who's been dominating you for years? When everything clicks and you put on a show right in front of them? That's exactly what happened to Phil Mickelson in 2012, and he made damn sure nobody would forget it. For years, Tiger Woods absolutely owned Mickelson when they were paired together. Woods dominated their head-to-head matchups in the early part of their careers, and every time they teed it up together, the result felt inevitable. But then came the 2012 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and Phil had a new weapon in his hands. Paired together in the final round, Mickelson caught absolute fire with his Odyssey blade putter. He couldn't miss. Every putt dropped. When the dust settled, Phil had shot 64 while Tiger stumbled to a 75, an 11-stroke annihilation. Mickelson won the tournament at 17 under, beating Charlie Y by 2 strokes, while Woods finished tied for 15th. So what did Phil do? He named that putter Tiger Slayer and slapped it right on the head cover for the world to see. Phil took that putter, that beautiful, magical tiger-slaying piece of equipment, and turned it into a trophy. A reminder that even legends can be beaten when you find the right tool in the right moment. Next up, a guy who didn't believe in waiting for miracles. So he scheduled one. Mark O'Meara was 41, still chasing that first major, and running out of Sundays to get it done. But at Augusta, he decided to write his own ending. Standing on the 17th tee at the 1998 Masters, tied with Fred Couples and trailing David Duval by a shot, he did something crazy. He turned to his caddy and said he was going to birdie the last 2 holes. Just like that, no hesitation, he buried a birdie on 17, 1 down. Couples found trouble off the 18th tee, hitting his approach into a greenside bunker. O'Meara's approach landed 20 feet from the cup. Duval had already finished at 8 under after narrowly missing his own 20-footer for birdie on 18. The fans were already walking to the 10th fairway, expecting a playoff, but O'Meara stood over the putt, took a few deep breaths, and told himself there was no need for a playoff. He could finish it right here. Then the 20-footer dropped. A final round 67, 9 under total, and a 1-shot victory. At 41, after 56 attempts at majors, O'Meara finally got his green jacket. Sometimes it's not luck or timing. You just decide it's your moment and make it happen. All right, here's a golf lesson for those who don't know. The LPGA's Rule 88 was created in 1990 after teaching and club pro division players struggled badly in tournaments, with one shooting over 100 and another making the turn in 52. The rule banned any non-LPGA member who shot 88 or higher from playing tour events for the rest of the year. So, you see where this is going, right? In May 2007, 17-year-old Michelle Wie returned to competition at the Ginn Tribute after 4 months recovering from a broken wrist. She was playing on a sponsor exemption, not an LPGA member. Through 16 holes, Michelle stood at 14 over par on the par 72 course. 2 more bogeys and she'd hit 88, ending her LPGA season instantly. Her manager, Greg Nared, intercepted her walking to the 17th tee. After a brief conversation, Wee withdrew, citing her wrist injury. Tournament host Annika Sorenstam later accused Wee of showing a lack of class and respect, especially after Wee was spotted hitting balls 2 days later at the next tournament site. Michelle denied gaming the system, but everyone noticed she was exactly 2 shots from career disaster when she stopped playing. Next up, here comes the kind of shot that reminds everyone why Tiger Woods is, well, Tiger Woods. Saturday at the 2008 US Open, Tiger had barely made it through the first 12 holes at Torrey Pines, playing 3 over par. Turns out the problem wasn't just with the course. His left knee was barely holding together, hiding 2 stress fractures and a torn ACL that nobody knew about yet. 5 shots off the lead with 6 holes to play, his tournament looked like it was slipping away. Then came the par 5 13th, and things got worse before they got better. Tiger ripped his drive miles right, so far off the fairway it ended up near a concession stand. A disaster? Not quite. Because of the ball's proximity, he got a free drop and caught a lucky lie in rough trampled flat by the gallery. From there, opportunity. He unloaded a 5-iron all the way to the back of the green, leaving himself a brutal 65-foot downhill eagle putt. Most players would be thrilled to 2-putt from there. Tiger? Oh, he drained it. And he didn't stop. He chipped in for birdie on 17, then made another eagle putt on 18. Suddenly, the 54-hole lead was his. He would go on to win the playoff on Monday, playing 91 holes on one leg to capture his 14th major. Next one. At the 1992 Texas Open, Carl Cooper hit what looked like a normal drive on the 456-yard 3rd hole at Oak Hills Country Club. Then, physics took over. The ball hit a downhill concrete cart path and kept accelerating like it was on rails. It blew past the 5th green, flew by the 6th tee, stayed on the cart path for hundreds of yards, jumped onto a maintenance road, and finally stopped behind the 12th green. Cooper's caddy measured it, 787 yards. His father Dean watched in disbelief. If there hadn't been a fence out there, it'd still be going. Tour official Glenn Tate called it bizarre and noted the ball was 2 inches from going out of bounds. Here's the nightmare. Cooper had to hit backwards nearly 300 yards back toward the fairway. He used a 4-iron, then an 8-iron, then a chip just to reach the green he'd already passed. Double bogey on a par 4. Cooper entered that week ranked 188th on the money list, fighting to keep his tour card. He missed the cut and lost his playing privileges for 1993. The longest drive of his career ended it. Next up, first Masters appearance, opening round 75. Playing alongside Rory McIlroy and Ryo Ishikawa, 2 other young stars expected to light up Augusta. Anthony Kim looked completely overwhelmed by the moment. Then, Friday happened. Conditions were brutal. Wind ripping, greens like glass. Only 17 players broke par. Augusta was chewing everyone up. Kim birdied the demanding first, then 3-putted the 4th. But something switched on. He rattled off 4 straight birdies from 5 through 8. The round felt electric. Then came a bogey at 9 and a double at 10. Through 10 holes, he had made 1 par. His scorecard looked unhinged, pure birdies and disasters, but then he went really crazy. After a par at 11, he birdied 12 and 13, stuck a wedge at 14, and added more birdies at 15 and 18. On the final green, he faced a 12-footer to break Nick Price's record of 10 birdies in a Masters round. And yes, he buried it. 11 birdies, a 65 on a day when almost no one broke 70. Afterward, Kim said it felt like a 58. And honestly, in those conditions it was. The record still stands. Kim finished T20, came back the next year and finished 3rd, then vanished from golf altogether in 2012. Up next, sometimes the weight on your shoulders has nothing to do with golf scores. Eric Van Rooyen arrived at the 2023 Worldwide Technology Championship in Mexico, ranked 125th in the FedEx Cup fall standings, right on the bubble for keeping his tour card. Miss the cut or play poorly, and his PGA Tour privileges vanish. No card, no income, no stability. But that Tuesday, something far heavier landed in his phone. A text from John Trasamar, his college roommate, his best friend, his wedding's best man, saying the melanoma had returned after remission and spread everywhere. Van Rooyen broke down in his hotel room. His caddy, Alex Gaugert, another teammate from their University of Minnesota days, did too. They could have withdrawn. Instead, Van Rooyen grabbed a Sharpie and wrote JT and music notes on every ball he'd play that week. Sunday came with Van Rooyen 4 shots back at the turn. Then something shifted. He birdied 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, and 17, shooting an 828 on the back nine. On 18, a par 5, he reached in 2 and faced a 15-footer for eagle with the tournament on the line. The putt dropped center cut. Eagle. Victory by 2 shots. Van Rooyen just stared silently at Gauguin before they embraced, both in tears. He'd secured his tour card, earned $1.476 million, and bought himself time to do what mattered most: fly to Minnesota and see John. Less than 2 weeks later, John Trossimar passed away at 33. Van Rooyen had his victory, but more importantly, he had those final days with his friend.